At this time, if all the candidates would come to the table behind me and take a seat, please, all the candidates today. Again, we just, first of all, I'd like to thank the Reeds family for allowing us to have this, candidate forum here today at the, Reeds Ponderosa, 79 years, standing in business, and we certainly appreciate that, appreciate their hospitality on today, and to all the candidates, we certainly appreciate you for taking time out of your schedule to come and share with us today. And we're gonna go right into it. We have a word of prayer, and I want to thank you for allowing the NAACP to come and put this forum on. We're gonna have a word of prayer by Bishop Mack. He will come and say a word of prayer, and then we'll be ready to turn the over to our moderator at that time.
Father, we thank you for your love and your mercy. We thank you for your goodness and your grace. We come to realize that all things work together for the good of those that love you, who have been called according to your purpose. We thank you for this opportunity, Lord, to be able to sit in a forum with our candidates running for office, position in our county, in our state. I pray, Lord, that you help our hearts to be revealed. I pray that we would ask good questions, and I pray that all of our candidates, Lord, I pray that their families would do well. I thank you again for them agreeing to come out again and to hear what we have to say. And we just give you the glory, the NAACP. We thank you for them and put together this important forum. We pray for all in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
Good evening, everybody. Can you guys hear me? Yes, I guess you can. I can't hear me. Get all I can't hear. Anyway, thank you all for coming out. And again, this is hosted. I put it on Facebook and Facebook said I was hosting. So no, I'm not hosting. This is hosted by the NAACP. I'm just the moderator. So thank you all for being here. We truly appreciate it. And hopefully some folks will wander in. We wanted to do this on the north end of the county because I invariably hear things that, well, we have to go all the way to Kingswood or all the way to Woodbine to get anything done. So we wanted to bring this here. So hopefully, as I said, we'll have some more folks coming in. We invited both of the candidates for District 180 State Representative, and so we have Mr. DeFonzio Daniels here. Representative Zanes was not able to make it, and we have both our candidates for sheriff. We have the incumbent Sheriff Proctor, and we have Mr. Cheney, and then we invited both of the candidates for District 1 because, of course, this is District 1 for the District 1 County Commissioner. And Mr. Chief was unable to make it, and he was going to send us.
He did send us he sent us a statement.
Okay,
yeah.
So is it
if I put it on my phone, would that work for you?
Yes, I have my glasses and I can make it really. I have my glasses and I can make it really big. But while we're waiting for that, when we get to the county commissioner, we'll start with the District 180. Let me just a couple of things is how this is going to go. First of all, if you have cell phones, if you can mute them so the phone doesn't ring and scare us. But we're going to ask each of the candidates to just take about 3 minutes to give us an introductory statement. And then we will have questions for each position. So we've got the 2 sheriff candidates separated. But we'll ask we'll ask the same question of each, And before I ask the question so that the audience can hear, I will hand you the question in writing. So hopefully you will be able to see it, because we got a little windy sometimes and they're a little long, so it has to be able to see them. And there's enough space for you to take notes if you would like. Ms. Terry Keller is our timekeeper. And so we're allowing 3 minutes per response to the question. So at the 2-minute and 15-second mark, Terry will hold up a green card that will show you you have 45 seconds remaining to speak. Then at the 2-minute and 30-second mark, she will hold up a yellow card that says you have 30 seconds remaining. And then at the 2-minute and 45-second mark, she will hold up a red card to let you know you need to wrap it up. You've got 15 seconds left. And if you go beyond that, then I'm just going to pull up, what's that show? On TV, one of those. I'm just gonna take the mic. I'll just walk up to you and take the mic. But anyway, it's really good to have you guys here. We truly hope that in the climate of our country today, we can have a civil discourse and we can agree to disagree. And none of us agree with all of us on everything. I mean, there are some times I have some conversations with myself, like, did you just really do that? So we are not going to agree on everything, but we do appreciate you being respectful and being civil and listening while the other candidate is speaking. So with that being said, the first set of questions will go to the District 180 candidate, Mr. Daniels. So I'm going to pass the mic to you, and first you'll have about 3 minutes to introduce yourself.
Good evening, good evening. We there. My name is Devonzio Daniels. I am the Democratic candidate for House Seat 180. And a little bit about myself, I'm from a little town called Reddick, Florida, in between Gainesville and Ocala, out deep in the deep woods. A lot of the people, I can see, I'm looking around. So a lot of people here already know that I'm a country boy. So a little bit about myself. Everyone wants to paint that picture of a politician. Well, I'm gonna let you know right now from the beginning, I'm not a politician. I'm just a person that's seen the problem, decided to get off the couch and actually do something about it. So that's that. As far as where how I was raised and everything, went through school, went from high school, after doing all that labor in the fields, and decided I did not want to do the field work that my grandparents wanted me to do as sheriff officers. So I decided to escape and go to college. I got into college and my mom got sick. She got sick, and when I got and during that time I decided to drop out of college and go to the Marine Corps. And the Marine Corps practically raised me to be the mature adult that I am today. When I dropped out of college, so I could take care of my brothers and sisters, and I did. And then during my time in the Marine Corps, I'm gonna let everybody know, I got hit by an IED. I got blown up, so I got injured. And then we spent time in the Wounded Warrior Regiment, got out. Well, I finished my degree while I was in the Wounded Warrior Regiment, and then moved on to federal law enforcement. There, I pretty much educated myself in almost everything when it comes to community relations, when it comes to law enforcement, youth support, all of it, you name it. I pretty much did it all. I traveled all across the country, learning and experiencing certain things with people out in the communities. And I'll tell you, one of my strongest points is basically community relations. So that's just as fast as I can give it to you. Hopefully I agree for over 3 minutes.
Yeah.
We're good?
Yes. Okay. But we just let everybody do their introductions now. Yeah, just pass it on.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
My name is Kevin Walker, and I am currently running for County Commissioner for District 1. I grew up in Spring Bluff. that's north of Tarboro, Waverly. I am the oldest of four boys. My parents are Floyd and Sonia Walker. I got into this political sector because I saw a need in my community. There were some challenges that I've seen arose, and so I figured, I would take on, being a voice. And so with that, it led me down this path as to running for commissioner. I am involved with several community initiatives in the county. I serve on the Woodbine Public Library Board. Also serve with, yes, Ms. Jacket, I see. Also serve as the past chair for the Political Action Committee for the NAACP. Also involved with the Democratic Party. So just to give you more in depth, I'm not doing this as a politician, but as someone who wants to serve their community, okay? And so it is my hope that I can serve the constituents of District 1, okay? All right.
Hi, everybody. I'm Jim Proctor. I'm your sheriff. I live next door to the house that I grew up in Woodbine, native Camden County, and proud to be from here, proud to have graduated from Camden County High School. I run as an independent. I don't believe party politics should have anything to do with law enforcement. Once you're everybody's sheriff, Democrat, Republican, non-party, you belong to everybody. I'm a firm believer in our community. I'm proud of us. I'm proud of our community and the people that live here. It's not just my home, it's our home. We've got a lot of things that go on in this community that where we have an opportunity to be a part of. And that's why I've been your sheriff. That's why I want to continue to be your sheriff, is to continue to be a part of this community. We've come a long way. We've got a long ways to go. I'm not a politician. I'm a professional law enforcement officer that just has to ask for their job back every 4 years. With that, I'm going to pass it down to Kevin.
Hey, good afternoon. Thank y'all for having us here tonight. I'm running for office of the sheriff. My name is Kevin Chaney. I was born in Fort Benning, Georgia. My dad was in the military at the time. A lot of people know this. My dad was actually a deputy sheriff in Cairo, Georgia. After he got out of the military, we lived in Cairo for a little bit. He was a deputy sheriff there, so I'm a second generation deputy sheriff and veteran of law enforcement. In 1980, we moved to Camden County. I grew up in Kingsland. I graduated high school, and during that time of growing up in Kingsland, my dad was athletic coordinator for the county and for the city of Kingsland for a long period of time. And watching his public service helped lead me to join the Army myself. And I left for a little while, came back home, came back to work at Sheriff's Office. Actually, Jim Proctor was the one that actually gave me the job in Charlie Eastman. And I stayed there for many years, worked in jail, worked on patrol, dispatch, every division in that office I have worked at. And I enjoyed it. During the course of time, I was also on the DEA task force where I lived in Savannah, Georgia for 5 years, and I was a liaison for them. And it was a very challenging job, but I was very rewarded for the citizens of Camden County because I provided drug activity to help mitigate some of that stuff here in Camden County that comes from all over the world. And during that time, I met my wife at a college function. She's from Tarboro. We live 6 miles down the road from here. We have 2 sons. One's a college student in Coastal. He's a sophomore. Another one's a junior in high school. He plays for the Wildcats. I'm a big Wildcat fan. If anybody didn't know that. My reason for running this is passion and drive. I have a passion for this job and I have a drive for this job. I want to serve the citizens of Camden County. I work for y'all. If you give me that opportunity to be your sheriff, I work for you and hold me accountable for what I do and what I don't do. And I think it's very obvious you got to have a passion and clear line of sight of where you want to go at, make sure you have that drive for it and have love of the community. Because community is probably the most important thing in any aspect. You got a lot of different things I can talk about. If you get community involvement, there's so many things that we can do together. Thank y'all.
Okay, and I do have actually a fairly lengthy statement from Mr. Cheek. I'm going to break it up and read the intro portion first. And then when we get to the District 1 County Commissioner questions, I'll read his statement on the issues. I am a lifelong resident of Camden County, seeking the seat for the Camden County Board of Commissioners for District 1. I can trace my family roots back many generations. With my deep roots and desire to improve a community I love, I am dedicated to the future of Camden County and will diligently work toward making Camden County a premier community for all citizens, present and future. I have been married to my wife, Teresa, for nearly 41 years. We live in Waverly. We have 2 daughters who are now grown and have blessed us with 2 great sons-in-law and 2 grandsons. I graduated Camden County High School in 1979. Lacking a clear direction in life, I joined the Navy and was assigned to Special Boat Unit 12 in Coronado, California. After my service, I graduated from Southern Technical Institute with a bachelor's degree in civil engineering. I was licensed as a professional civil engineer in 1993. My statement is, knows the past, improving the future. I have been involved directly or indirectly in local and state issues most of adult life. Having been in the civil engineering and development business for many years, I have a deep understanding of community development issues on all levels. I have been involved in county and city public works departments as part of my engineering career. My background gives me a firm grasp on the day-to-day operations and maintenance required to effectively operate a public works department. Drainage and transportation issues are a major issue for all of Camden County, but particularly in District 1. Trying to find a stop for these. We have miles of dirt road in need of paving and better maintenance. I intend to make that my major priority, particularly for the north end of Camden County. And I think I'm going to stop there. And when it's time for the District 1 Commissioner, I'll go back and read that section. So just so you understand why we have the order that we have, we started with the statewide position, which is the District 180 State House Representative, and then the county position, which is the sheriff position, and then we'll do the District 1 Commissioner, Board of Commissioners position. So we are ready to begin, and we will just alternate with the questions. Oh. First, I have to give a question to Commissioner 180. Okay. So first question for District 180. Of the 50 states, Georgia has the 3rd highest percentage of citizens who lack health insurance, as well as the 5th highest maternal mortality rate. If you are elected, what measures would you support to improve these numbers? For example, bills to buy into the ACA's Medicaid expansion program, bills to address systemic racial inequalities in healthcare, or bills to address policy changes, including the Georgia abortion ban affecting pregnant and postpartum people.
I'm gonna say all of the above for a reason. And the reason being because the environment we have in the state is that you have to be able to work with what we have. And that would be the Republican Party and some of the bills they already have in place. So everything that you just mentioned, for sure, that I will be actually trying to push a bill to get the help that we need. And right now, we are we are practically the worst, in my opinion, because we're living here and we see the hurt, we see the amount of problems that we have with the health departments, basically try to push for Medicaid expansion, and our country, or our state itself is hurting. We already see the amount of impact that we've actually incurred and how much it costing us financially. I can't see why we keep pushing back on the expansion part, due to the fact that the federal will be paying 90% of that cost, will incur 90% of that cost. That means the state would pay 10%. I'm gonna go ahead and say it. So if we're gonna be pro-life, we need to be pro-life from the womb to the tomb. That means it starts before and after, during, and continue on. We can't just continue to just nitpick what we want to be pro-life on. So we have to continue to progress from where we are right now today. And there's a lot of things, a lot of bills that we actually need to implement in order to get our state in a stable position to where we're not losing mothers to bureaucracy. We're not losing kids in the healthcare system or people that need to be helped, and they can't get the help that they need because of the bureaucracy, how legislative is right now. So there's a lot of changes that need to be pushed, and I'm definitely going to be the one to push it because I see the need for it, and my people, and I'm not just talking about the minority population, I'm talking about my people as a whole, everybody that I represent, because I don't just represent the Democratic Party when I'm in that position. I represent the Republicans, the Democrats, and the Independents, anybody that's up under me. And that's the part that we need to get away from when they start talking about the conservatives and stuff like that. We just need to push away from that and understand that everybody in this state matters, and it needs to be equal across the board. And right now, it is not equal. Most of the things right now, when it comes to medical, the medical side of the house is being pushed for private. If it's being pushed private, that basically means somebody's going to be left out because everybody can't afford it.
I only have one mic, so we'll play mic tag. Okay, thank you, Mr. Daniels. The second question is, like that of other coastal counties, the Camden landscape, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't give you the question, sorry, but let me give it to you, because it is lengthy. Okay, question 2. Like that of other coastal counties, the Camden landscape is defined by valuable wetlands and rivers and the aquifers that are linked to them. So far, industrial damage to these wetlands, rivers, and aquifers has been confined to areas such as the Bear, United Carbide properties at the mouth of the Satilla River, and the Harrietts Bluff neighborhoods that cannot tap into the aquifer that has been contaminated by the damage. What measures will you take to protect our wetlands and drinking water from further damage?
So, as a citizen, I am right now, as a citizen, I have been actually talking to the county commissioners and all the city mayors about coming to some kind of overhaul solution to deal with some of these drainage issues, or try to redirect them in an area where they should be going. Doing my conversations with them, we have all come to agreement that conversation needs to be had countywide. So doing things like that and implementing and making sure, putting mitigations in place for this is going to take a collective of coordination between the county and the city leaders. And I've already started laying the ground for that part. As we see, there's a lot of issues when it comes to this water and how it affects the communities, especially communities that I've walked in and talked to people with mold issues, like mold. It's hazardous, and then they don't want to actually go out and talk to their leaders because they don't trust the leaders. So my job is going to be letting people know that, hey, the only way that we can get things solved is for you to go out and say, hey, this is what's going on. if they don't know what's going on, then how do we fix that problem? So we have to establish some kind of communications with the community in order to be able to develop some kind of a comprehensive plan to fix some of these drainage issues that we're having. So.
Okay, this is the third and final question for the District 180 candidate. If elected, what actions would you take to increase the level of Georgia state-provided funds to help strengthen Camden County, such as funds provided for affordable housing and childcare by the Department of Community Affairs, funds provided for mental health by the Department of Behavioral Health and Developmental Disabilities, etc.?
All right, so some of these things I've already started trying to work on plans to bring in some kind of meaningful change when it comes to getting in the funds for children in schools, and it's rough right now. But the biggest thing that I see with changing and trying to get funds in for like education and childcare, my goal is to actually build or add to the education department where we can actually start a daycare, or I should say early childhood development training center, and utilizing that early childhood development training center to take some of the cost off of the parents that are going to school. So that basically means that people will be able to go and learn from this development center, also take their kids and save on the child care. This is also the people that are actually working in the community that are having and struggling with childcare. They will be able to drop off their kids to that daycare while that parent or someone else is actually getting educated and learning how to start their own early childhood development center. So there's a lot of things that we can actually do and implement in Camden County to save a lot of these parents with the incur or increase prices of childcare. It's just a matter of being able to reinvest back into your community by training your community in order to be able to sustain itself. And that's one of the greatest things that I think that we can actually do here in order to save the childcare issue that we're having here. Now, the mental health portion of it, we have to do a lot to help with this mental health issue that we're having around. We don't have, correct me if I'm wrong, we don't have too much of anything to help anyone around here with mental health problems. When we have those issues, when it starts, and it starts young. A lot of our problems start from the early childhood development, and us, or I should say, a lot of people letting social media raise your child. We have to push away from letting social media raise your child. That's just one of the parts. That's why we have a lot of issues with school threats and those environments. We're not gonna cover that right now, but a lot of those issues develop from early childhood development, and we need to cut that off at the root. 30 seconds. So there's a lot of issues that I can tell you right now. We are definitely going to push for any kind of medical assistance that's going to deal with the mental health portion of our county. That's going to also help across the state as well.
Okay, could we give Mr. Daniels a hand? Thank you. Do not want to be your entertainment by calling. Okay, so the next set of questions are for our two sheriff candidates, and I'm going to actually hand you the question before I ask. Okay, and we'll start with Mr. Cheney, because he's closer and I won't have to go as far to hand him the mic. Okay, so the question number one, what measures do you plan to take as sheriff of Camden County to build trust and ensure transparency with the community?
Thank you. Third important, transparency is very, very important. I want to make sure that the community is involved with us. And it starts with town hall meetings. We gotta have these town hall meetings every quarter. And the plan is to have it in each city, in each district, city of St. Mary, city of Woodbine, city of Kingsland, and even on the north end as well. You gotta have those town hall meetings where you come here and ask me these hard questions on, hey, what are we doing good? What are we doing bad? How can we fix things? When something bad happens in Camden County at the sheriff's office, you can't sit on it and wait on it to, fester out. You need to go ahead and attack the problem right then. You gotta put out, hey, this is the problem. We had an issue. Here it is. This is what the problem is. And here's the solution. This is how we're gonna fix that. That's part of that community engagement piece. Next thing you need to do is make sure that we have, along with the community engagement piece, is the, invite the public into the office. Come sit down with us, come see us, come see what we do on a daily basis. Come off, ask my officers those questions as well. And get involved with us, make sure that you're involved with us. Another key piece, every quarter, where if I do it every month, we'll do it every month. Every quarter, at least have a quarterly reports put out there. You need to put those reports out there to the public. They're going to show you the use of force reports. How many use of forces have we had for that month or for that quarter? How many community engagement events do we have in that quarter? Do we go to the elementary school? Do we go to the high school? Do we go to any kind of events inside the, you have events throughout the year in all the cities. So let's go to Crawfish Festival. Make sure you get be involved with that part. There's the shrimp seafood festival. Make sure you get involved with that. It's really being tied to the community. And growing up in public service around my dad and watching with athletics and watching these youth grow up, that's where it starts at. You be involved with these kids. And it takes pleasure for me to travel with this football team and see these kids grow up from going up from Little League football all the way up. And being part of the youth is very important in our community to make sure that we strive forward. And hold me accountable. If I'm not doing something right in the sheriff's office, I work for you. It's important that you come, you tell, hey, you're not doing this or you're not doing, that's how you hold me accountable. That transparency piece comes back out to you. Thank you.
We're going to continue to, I'm going to continue. It's not my sheriff's office, it's our sheriff's office. I work for you, always have, always been accountable to you, always will be. I don't hide anything. I'm very transparent. We invite the public into the office. We have Citizens Academy where we want you to come ride with the deputies. We want you to come participate. We show you what we do. It's not something that has just started. That's what we've done all along. We believe in community engagement. We go to all the community functions. We participate. We invite feedback. We're constantly engaged. We're transparent. We don't sit on stuff. We don't hide stuff. I've never hidden anything. Never will. The positive engagements in the community will continue with the different functions, the different festivals, the different activities with the kids, with the schools. I used to be a scoutmaster. Children, that's our future. That's what we have to build on. We have to get these kids in. They have to trust us. They have to be engaged with us. And that's what we're going to continue to do. But not just the kids, the adults. We want the adults engaged with us also. I don't know how to put any finer than that.
I'm going to read, well, was going to, but I'll read it from here. I'm just going to end the mic, but I have to read it from here because I didn't bring the question with me. So question for sheriff candidates, question number 2. What would you do to upgrade the Camden County Jail's current health, sanitary, and safety conditions to acceptable standards as recommended by NIC, the National Institute of Corrections? So give the mic to.
We need a new jail. The place is deplorable. The Board of Commissioners has not maintained it. We can do just so much with inmate labor. The place is clean. We go through tons of bleach every year trying to maintain it, clean it in a cleanly fashion. We need a new jail. The place is falling down around us. I've been saying it for years. They've been kicking the can down the road. It's got to end in order. Excuse me. The folks that are there, they're human beings. I had recently a guy come through the Citizens Academy, and he had seen overseas some of these jails where people are held. He said that our jail is of a less standard than those are. Most of these folks haven't been found guilty of anything. They're innocent. They're U.S. citizens. They deserve better. And it's up to the Board of Commissioners to maintain the facility. And they have. We need a new jail. Sanitation wise, we clean it as best we can. Maintenance wise, that's on the Board of Commissioners, not on the sheriff. We do what little bit we can to maintain it. It's deplorable. In order to bring it up to any kind of standards, we're going to have to replace it. There's no way to rehab that existing facility.
And that's correct. It does need a new jail. The jail has deteriorated over the years, and it's built back in, I believe, 1986, 1987. It's not refurbishable. It's not going to be redone. You're going to continue to have the doors fall. You're going to continue to have the sewers come up. And it's going to take a lot of work with working with the Board of Commissioners and really put the fire on their feet and say, listen, let's sit down, let's work. If it's weekly, if it's monthly, whatever we need to do, let's accomplish the goal. Let's start where we need to start at. Talk to contractors, if you can't build on site there, you're going to have to find a place and build off site. And let's make it happen. Let's work together and get citizens involved in it too. It's your jail too. So let's make sure that y'all involved in some of the process of trying to get this thing started. And another thing going to be key is to reestablish the Criminal Justice Coordinating Council. That's a big key issue, because a lot of that is when you come together as a group in that council, you sit down, you talk about your safety features, you talk about your sanitation, you talk about the health and wellness of them inside the jailers and the inmates inside there. And that's why, I don't know how long it's been away, but it's been away for a while. But the Criminal Justice Council, that was a very big key when that was established here. We need to make sure we get back to doing that. Those young jailers in there, the young correction officers, we need to make sure that they're up to speed on the training, on the current policies and procedures, and get these things updated. It's time to get these things done, get it over with. I know that they've been working on for a long time, but we need to make sure those policies are updated correctly, and make sure we get those guys trained on that, get them that good training. We bring in a shield force training there. We start utilizing shields in those, so you don't have to go hands-on as much. And bring in a risk assessment team. The state of Georgia has risk assessment teams that come in across the state, LGRMS, local government risk management services. They come in, let them assess that agency for you. Let them assess what's going on inside jail, so they can actually bring in some kind of safety features and help make you a better sheriff in that organization.
Third question. What actions would you take to ensure the Camden County Sheriff's Office does not hire poor performers from other law enforcement organizations? We'll start with you, Mr. Cheney.
Those 4 things the sheriff is supposed to do. That's arrest bad guy, hit good guys, good steward of taxpayers' money, be accountable to the citizens that he works for. Another 5 things that I always like to try to believe into. Transparency, make sure that where information is hidden, there's no trust. So you have to make sure that you have that transparency piece and put it out to the public. Accountability, hold my people accountable. Hold me accountable. They mess up, hey, here's the problem, here's the solution to what they've done wrong. Community engagement. You got to make sure you have that community engagement piece. You bring in the citizens to be a part of this, help them have that review board. So we see that when you have a review board, they might know something that we don't know about that person or that individual in that community. That helps. That's a big key to us. And then when you do recruitment inside the communities where they live at. So when you recruit in St. Mary's, Tarboro, Spring Bluff, you recruit from that community there, they're a part of the agency, they bring it back to their community, then you know who they are. They mess up, and I don't have to hold them accountable, you want to hold them accountable, they live in your community. Another part is peer support program. You gotta make sure our officers are taken care of. On a 12-hour shift, they may go to a bad wreck, we have a fatality, may go to a baby call, where it just fell off a porch and splits head wide open, would be another fatality from a bad traffic wreck. There's a lot of different issues that go on in an officer's mind. If we don't give them that peer support program, or give them where they got that decompression, it's never, ever, they're never going to actually ever fully decompress. You got to have that decompression, because if you go down on a 12-hour shift, wake up the next morning, come right back at it again, where's your time to decompress? If you get them to decompress, it's going to be reciprocated back to the public they work for. And most important key is leadership. You got to be a leader in that agency. You got to have a drive. You got to have a passion for that. You got to take care of your people. You take care of your people will take care of you. And that in return, that reciprocates back to the public that you work with.
I agree with everything Kevin just said, but in order to ensure that we don't hire poor performers from other agencies and we streamline our hiring process, we're currently working with the NAACP and have been to modify our hiring process, our questions, so that we can ensure that we hire quality people. And of course, we want people from here in this community, but there's not enough people here in this community to staff us, so we have to go outside the community. We've expanded our reach down to Edward Waters College, up to Savannah, to the Technical College, and all around us. It's the only way we're going to get enough qualified people to staff up. Our pay has increased, thank goodness, but even that's not enough. So we're having to go out into the surrounding communities to attract other people. And it's working, slowly but surely it's working. The 911 center is fully staffed. Patrol has just a handful of vacancies. The jail has less vacancies than it has in the past 2 years. We're getting into a position where we're going to be fully staffed pretty soon. And it's with qualified people, not just from this community, but from surrounding communities that want to come be a part of us.
This is the final question for the sheriff's candidates. What would you do to change the culture in the sheriff's office? For example, would you be willing to develop policies and procedures that fit the standards required by CALEA, the Commission on Accreditation for Law Enforcement Agencies Incorporated? And we'll start with Sheriff Proctor.
It's already being done. The entire policy manual, which is about that thick, is not being copy and pasted. It's not being piecemealed. It is being rewritten word for word from beginning to end. We're comparing it not just against CALEA standards, but against the 11th Court Circuit of Appeals, the Georgia Supreme Court, the United States Supreme Court. All of those policies are being updated. It's been underway and it's currently underway. It is not something that happens overnight. It is a long, drawn-out procedure. It's already being done.
When I was part of the sheriff's office, that's one of the things that I actually was able to help establish, and that was the professional standards division. And that's where they write policies and procedures. And, And he's actually right, it does, they're looking at all the different ways that how that policy is supposed to be affected. So the policy needs to be written, they need to be up to par, and they need to be done now. And we can't wait on it. But we also need to make sure they're right. The Georgia Sheriff Association started a program a couple years back, a pilot program. I need to check back on it, see if it's still there, but kind of similar to accreditation. Georgia Sheriff Association had a pilot program where they was making accreditation for sheriff's office. The sheriff's offices are different from the police department, whereas they run the jail, the courts, and other in the warrant division, whereas the police department does not have that. So when they did this pilot program, they was making sure for accreditation, they was including all of those aspects of the sheriff's office to make sure that's done. And hopefully with all those, with that in play, then we'll be able to get back on track and get those accreditations and stuff done. Make sure we work within the guidelines of the policies we have, and make sure the officers, when they're not, and when they're just done, it's not over at that point. You gotta make sure they all get trained on it as well. Part of a policy thing, you can actually come in there and have tests on these policies and procedures and make sure they have all these guidelines and those rules and make sure they stay within the policy. So it's not something that happens overnight by no means. It's going to take some time, but yes, we need to absolutely make sure we change that culture in there, get these guys and girls, young ladies and young men back into the right frame.
Okay, thank you to our sheriff's candidates. Can we give them this kind of applause? Mary, you're gonna have to reopen your phone. Pretty well with time. Get around 2 hours. We'll beat that. And then I will read Mr. Cheek's statement. And then I'll ask the first question. Although there are numerous issues to deal with, when elected, I will focus on some key areas to improve all of Camden, but particularly District 1. Transparency and communication. I intend to have quarterly town hall meetings at various places in District 1. There will be no set agenda. I will make some opening remarks about current issues. Otherwise, the meeting will be informal. If there is a specific item to be discussed and I feel a staff member needs to attend, I will make that happen. Anyone can speak on any issue. There will be no time frame if the discussions are on task and productive. I will be there as long as the people like or until we must leave the facility at a specific time. I will answer any questions. If I don't have an answer, I will state that and get back to all concerned. The purpose is twofold. One, it gives those who may not feel comfortable speaking in a structured environment, like the commission meetings, a chance to speak. Hopefully those will feel more at ease in an informal setting and feel free to talk without time restrictions and formalities. Two, I want to get more people interested in the makings and workings of county government. I understand the day-to-day things in life are priority, but I think more would be interested in the right setting. Often I've heard that it doesn't matter, nothing will be done. As a commissioner, I will try my best to make all things matter and do what I can, when I can, and as openly as I can. Regarding the current 3-minute rule, commission meetings need structure to keep the meeting flowing. I suggest moving the time to 5 minutes, but giving some latitude if the discussion is on task and productive. I don't think a time frame is as important as allowing latitude. Most speakers can speak their mind in whatever time frame is given, but with the current hard, fast rule, people get the feeling they are cut off misstatement. That needs to change. Growth and development. I understand Camden County is a growing community, and with growth comes challenges. Leadership needs to be sensitive to our local values while still providing solid, sustainable opportunities for our kids, grandkids, and future generations to live and thrive in the community. In that, I am prepared to listen to the community to better understand the desires and needs of every individual and to use my background to attract good, solid commercial and light industrial growth to help lessen the tax burden of home and property owners, which currently carry most of the burden. Public works, roads, and drainage maintenance. I will support increasing the public works budget to improve maintenance of all roads and drainage systems. It will take more equipment, manpower, and a potential reorganization of the department to ensure we have solid maintenance schedules and performed properly. I'm going to start skipping, this is a little lengthy. Paving dirt roads. Strictly from a financial standpoint, paving dirt roads is a heavy lift. When paving roads cost somewhere in the range of $1.5 to $2 million per mile, the burden is great, but we can't lose sight of that as one of the biggest priorities for District 1. When elected, I will use my background to be sure we constantly pursue funds to pave roads and update the road priority list as needed. Whether we set aside capital funds every year, obtain grants from FHWA or GDOT, use SPLOST funds or grant mechanisms, we can't lose sight of the needs because we think we can't afford it. Budgeting. This is the last topic. Once elected, I will be deeply involved in the budget process. Department heads need to understand I am not for using prior year budget numbers and just adding a percentage on top for the coming year so it looks like cuts are being made when the commission reviews the budget requests. A true cut is one that is less than last year's budget, and I think the budget needs to be a zero-based budget every year. Start from zero every year and add necessary line items and delete prior line items that are not necessary. I will also monitor spending to see the trends in spending per month per department with specific interest in how much unnecessary spending is taking place at the end of the budget year. I hear some say you must use it or lose it. If a department head does not need it, don't spend it and don't ask for it the following year. If it is not needed, then don't spend it, even if it is a budgeted item. My goal is to limit government growth by limiting spending, cut where possible, and if assessments go up, the millage rate needs to come down. So we will ask the first question of County Commissioner Candidate Walker, and it is, what actions would you support to increase the availability of affordable housing in Camden County?
Well, first off, when we look at the affordable housing in Camden County, it does not meet the income of individuals who work here. And what we need to do is, with the support, how can we establish some type of form for residents, an action plan that they can afford their housing. What we look at now is that we have a lot of developments that's coming into Camden County. Many of those developments, they're starting at the top. And so because they're starting at the top, many residents they're not able to afford the housing. So I think putting action in place to support the increased availability for affordable housing would be looking at ways of incentives to those individuals to somewhat increase the availability.
Okay, question number 2. What would you do to get input from citizens regarding priorities for SPLOST expenditures, such as an upgrade of the Camden County Jail?
SPLOST needs to be put on the ballot. It needs to be put on the ballot for the citizens to make the decision to vote on what should be spent on those expenditures. As we've heard from both candidates that's running for sheriff, the jailhouse situation. We know that the jailhouse is in bad shape. Okay, so do we use all of the SPOS money to go towards the jailhouse? How do we do that? You know, what expenditures as far as upgrades when it comes to the county jail? I took a tour of the county jail. And there is a pod that's sitting that's basically being used for storage. Inmates can't use it. What do? You know, we know that SPOS will help with those situations with upgrading the jail. But if we don't put that on the ballot for the citizens to make the decision to vote on it, we'll never get to where we need to with SPOS.
Okay, question number 3. What would you do to solicit timely input from the communities who are being affected by the types of industries that are being brought into the various industrial parks?
Timely input from communities that's being affected. What I believe is before you even make the decision to break ground on any type of industry that's in a community, reach out to those citizens, let them know what you're doing, get their input. If you don't get the input from those citizens, they'll never know what's going on until you already have broken ground. And I think it's a disservice to those communities. When you come in, you don't talk to them, you don't reach out to them, but then, hey, it may be weeks or months later, there's a foundation that's being poured. They don't know anything about it. Then once it goes up, you don't know what type of effect that industry may have on that citizen. So I think even being transparent with those that are in the community, because some way or another, they may be affected, whether it's by roadway, whether it's by disturbance of noise, they're going to be affected, and they should know what's going on in their community. They should not be left out in the dark.
This is the final question for County Commissioner candidate. How has your understanding of the biggest challenges in District 1 developed as you have talked to voters throughout the district?
The biggest challenges in District 1 is infrastructure. When we look at paved roads, unpaved roads, dirt roads, I was at the commissioners meeting last night, and there was a couple there who the husband took ill, ambulance could not get down to their house. They had to probably walk maybe a block or so to get to that individual because the roadways are messed up. Take it even a step further. We just had a hurricane that just came through. School had to be canceled because some of these roads, the school buses cannot go down them. Citizens can even go down the roads because trees are covering them from falling over. What do we do? You know, and that's been one of the major challenges for the district, our infrastructure. You can send a grader down the dirt road, and that grader can go down there and play in the road all day, but are they really fixing the problem? You know, we have torrential amounts of flooding that happens to where sometimes the flooding goes and backs into that individual's yard from ditches not being cleaned properly. So infrastructure is it is really one of the biggest challenges with District 1.
give Candidate Walker a hand. And since we do have time, I'm just going to change the rules because that's just what I do. So I will ask that each of you give us a closing statement and anything that we didn't ask about that you want to raise attention to that, or if you want to amplify a response, or you want to respond to something someone else said, and we'll give you 3 minutes each. And again, Terry will keep time for us. So let's see, we started with Mr. Daniels. We'll start.
Awesome. Where to start my clock? Motivated. All right, so some of the things that we did not cover, the issues with communication. I think that's one of the biggest problems we have around Camden County. We have to fix that situation. We were just talking about the citizens not knowing things. Of course, they don't know things because we think as leaders, we put out the information and they got it. They don't. I walk to these doors, I knock a door, and I talk to somebody. Almost every one of those citizens point out that, hey, I didn't know nothing about that. Oh, what's going on with this? What's going on with that? And I tell them where to find it at. But that's part of the issue right there. If we had some kind of a broadcasting system where everyone across the county can, tap into, then we'll know our own local issues that we're having here. When it comes to educating our citizens on certain issues, how legislative work and the branches and everything like that, we need to actually, get out and engage them, because I spend a lot of time actually talking to them about how things work around the community and what is what's going to affect you the most, and who you need to actually hold accountable for those issues that you're facing personally. So some of these people just go out and they just vote. They don't understand what they're voting for. They just vote and not realizing they're voting against their own best interests. And we was talking about the infrastructure and how things are being built. We got so many infrastructure, so many places that's coming up, but not realizing that that's going to put a strain on law enforcement as well. You're going to build up all these places. You're going to flood these places with just people, no place for these people to go work. We don't have anything set up for them to actually go ahead and sprout out into the community so that they can go ahead and go out there and work. When that happens, we're going to have an influx of problems that we're going to have to deal with as well. So these things need to be structured. There has to be a long-term plan, a short-term, and a right now plan if they don't have it already. So these things need to be addressed, and we're not doing that right now. And those are things while we put people in place that are going to be productive in the community, and being able to get that out there, the word out to these individuals, so they would know that you have the right leader in place. So research your candidates, research your leaders. That's one of the biggest things that I'm going to put out there. Research. Yeah, I got the green light already. All right. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut it short. Here you go.
I'm pretty simple. I believe in this county. I believe in the people that live here. I believe in my family. I believe in doing what's right and all what's easy. Holding people accountable. Get the community involved in events. Get the community involved with the agency. Learn what we do. Get the community leaders, the pastors, the preachers. Get them involved in it. Get other mayors. Get everybody involved in this. And Devonzo is right. The communication, let's call it like it is. It's just not there. We got to get that communication out to the public. Let them know what's going on. Let them know what's going on at the sheriff's office. I mean, with law enforcement, the premier law enforcement in Camden County, this is it. And you got to have that leadership inside there that has a drive and a passion, wants to work for the citizens of Camden County every day, 365 days a year. And all responsibilities lies on the shoulders of the sheriff. He is it. You have that person in that office you can trust and rely on. Make sure he's going to be there for you. You call upon him, he's going to be there. I can't tell you, I'm working inside there, in the sheriff's office and at the Kingsland Police Department now, day in and day out. I'm out there with these guys and girls, and I see some of the struggles. I see some of the excitement. It's great to see these guys and girls when they get excited, and then you see the downside when you pull up on a wreck and there's a fatality, and you see the struggles that they're going through, how they're coping with that. Then you get away from that and you go back out to your community, you see kids playing out in the field or something. You stop out and talk with them for a few minutes. That's what law enforcement is about, getting involved in communities and saying, hey, how you doing? It's not about taking everybody to jail. Not everybody deserves to go to jail. It's about having compassion for people. That's what we gotta get back at. That's what I believe Sheriff's Office needs to go to.
And I agree, and the sheriff's office never left that. We're gonna stay involved in the community. And we're gonna stay involved with our citizens. That's what I do as the sheriff. I'm out there daily. I'm out there constantly, year round, 365 days a year. There's never a single second of a single minute of a single hour that I'm not your sheriff. It is a life commitment. It's not a job. It is a full indulgence of your life, and not just your life, but that of your family. We're all held under a microscope, and all we can do is every day do our best. And that's what we do. We have to police ourselves. Our jail is falling apart. Those people in there are US citizens. They're us. We have the sorriest mental health in the state of Georgia. Georgia ranks number 47th or 48th in mental health. That's deplorable. That is absolutely deplorable. And it's not just out on the streets, but in that jail. A lot of those inmates shouldn't be in there. They should be in mental health facilities. And when they shut down the state mental health hospitals, they dumped them into the communities. The communities weren't prepared to handle it, and they end up in jail. That is not the answer. We've got to do something about that. We've incorporated mental health into our health care in the jail. It is not enough. And it's going to take the commissioners. It's going to take the state mental health. They're going to have to be partners with us. We're already working on it. There are people in the room that can attest to that. But it's not enough. We've got to continue to move forward. We've got to continue to strive to be better. That's where we are, and that's where we're going to continue to go.
From the Board of Commissioners standpoint, I believe transparency is the main thing. There's got to be some transparency with the citizens. There's got to be some accountability when we look at the county budget. As we've, heard about the situations that's going on within our county with the jails and infrastructure and industries that's coming here, listen to the people. You're serving these people. That's your job, first and foremost. Okay. And so one thing when it comes down to the commission, you got to be visible. You got to be proactive. Don't just, go to the problem when it happens, but let people know that you're concerned about them in their community. Okay. You got to be proactive, transparent, proactive, and then town halls. There's going to be times when you need to address those in your community to let them know what's going to be taking place. Don't leave them in the dark. Now, I can go a step further with, when you come into these meetings, commissioner meetings, if you've been in there, you've seen the timer that sits up there. Citizens sometimes are being threatened with law enforcement that we're going to put you out. Okay. I know that there's a code of conduct that we have to follow, but in the same token, don't ignore the people when they have a concern. If they can't get it all in those 3 minutes, okay, after the meeting, hey, I know you couldn't get your comment out during the 3 minutes, but I want to hear what you have to say. Don't ignore them. Don't turn a deaf ear to them. That's one of the things that we got to work on. That goes back to communication. Being able to communicate with your constituents.
Thank you all. We really, really, really appreciate your taking the time. It's been informative. And we didn't even, I didn't have to take the mic from anybody, so that's awesome. So, we do have, a flyer that is on the table right there that has some information about voting. The 7th of October is the last day to register, and the last day to request an absentee ballot is October 25th. And I remember that because that's my birthday. And there is advanced voting, and advanced voting begins on the 15th of October, and it begins on Tuesday because Monday's a holiday. That's, not any secret. We have advanced voting in Kingsland at the Annex on Gross Road, and then in Woodbine at the elections office, and in St. Mary's as well. So all the information is on here. So make sure you get one of these. And we've got a bonus tonight. We did publicize this, and anyone who is a candidate had an opportunity to just show up if they want to just hang out. And so I want at this point to acknowledge any other candidates. I know we've got Patty Hewitt. Do we have any other candidates other than Ms. Hewitt and me? I'll ask Ms. Hewitt to stand and give you another 3 or 4 minutes or so.
Yeah.
Okay,
If you
great.
could
Thank
come
you so
out.
much. Hi, everybody. How are you this evening? Thank you to these wonderful candidates. First of all, for stepping up and running for the election and making yourself transparent to the voters. And thank you for all of you wanting to be informed voters. It's not easy to be informed voters in all the noise that we hear these days. So thank you for showing up and caring about the people that are really going to have an impact on your everyday lives. These are the people that do that. I'm Patty Hewitt. For those of you that don't know me, I am running as the Democratic nominee for Congress in the 1st Congressional District, or as you may know me, I am Buddy Carter's opponent. So sometimes that puts it into perspective as to what I'm running for. I am a resident of Bryan County, but I am now, and for the past year, been a resident of this district. I have spent the last year spending hour upon hour upon hour with groups just like you, learning about the problems that you have, understanding at a deep level what the issues are that are most important to you. The candidates brought up many of these issues. The cost of childcare in Camden County. Childcare should cost 7% of your salary. That is what it should cost. In Camden County, it is 14%. And what that means is that knocks families out of the workplace because they either cannot afford to go to work or they are faced with putting their children in potentially unsafe situations so that they can work. We talked about how low our mortality rate is, or how high, I should say, our mortality rate is. How awful that is. And you know why that is? Because 14% of the people in this district have no health insurance of any kind. These are problems that we need to solve. I am running in order to solve these problems, to make investments in our working families, to make sure that communities like Camden have money for infrastructure, which they desperately need. They should have a friend in Congress that they can reach out to help them. That is our role as Congresspeople, to help these communities. So it is a privilege and an honor to be here today. I want to also say what an amazing organization the NAACP is. They are doing such great work all over this district. You don't see it here in Camden, but I can tell you these forums are going on everywhere. They are registering people to vote. I was just at an event last week where they were registering people to vote, giving them information about where to vote, how to vote, and making sure that our voters are informed. So you go NAACP. Thank you very much.
Okay, and now I'm going to take off my moderator hat and put on my candidate hat. I am Janet Bradford, and I am a candidate for Kingsland City Council Post 1. And just real quickly, I'm not a born here Camden County resident, I'm a come here. I retired from the Air Force as a Lieutenant Colonel in 2000. I've now been retired longer than I was on active duty. And then I went to work, I came here and I went to work at Flexi, and I spent 22 years actually working at Flexi. On the operational side, you know, Flexi does training. I wasn't law enforcement, I didn't get it by osmosis. But the maintenance and the human capital and the assets and the building, the construction, I had a lot to do with a lot of that for the past 20 years. So I've done the sorts of things that city councils are faced with, as opposed to the kinds of policy level issues that Congress people are faced with. I've been impressed with the Kingsland City Council. They have taken a vow of civility, an oath of civility, so they are very, very civil and they're transparent. But if you go to a city council meeting, you better get there on time, because it starts at 6 o'clock and at 6:15 it's over. So there is transparency, but it is a pull. You have to pull it. The information is not pushed out to the people. So I really want people to get beyond this sense of my vote doesn't matter and I don't need to vote, because you do need to vote. We had some critical elections that were lost by fewer than 40 votes. We had 2 county commissioner races that were won with one with 27 and one with 31 votes. You know, that's unconscionable. So we need to stop being apathetic, and I understand if you got to work and you're trying to go to school, there are other things going on, but at the city level, there are things that are happening that you need to be aware of, how the money is being spent, and you need to have a voice in that process. So if you live in Kingsland, because if you don't live in Kingsland, you can't vote for me, but if you live in Kingsland, by all means, reach out to me before we leave, and I'd love to have a conversation with you. So, thank you.
One of the things that we've managed to do is to convince the Board of Elections and Registration to give us a Sunday afternoon of early voting. So we're in the midst of organizing with other nonpartisan group peers like the Alpha Phi Alpha Brothers and Black Voters Matter. We're organizing a staging area at Howard Peoples Park on that Sunday, October 20th, where if you bring all your church members to come to the park, and we can schedule an orderly transportation just down the road to the Kingsland Annex, County Annex Building in Kingsland, so that we can show that we appreciate having another weekend day of voting. This is particularly important for working families, I think. So spread the word. Thank you.
So thank you very much. We have the building until Ms. Deborah puts us out, but we have it until 8 o'clock or until Ms. Deborah puts us out. I'll say it that way. So we do have some time. We encourage you to mingle with the candidates, to ask questions, because the NAACP is nonpartisan. There was no literature to be shared, but you have the opportunity to just have that personal conversation, have that one-on-one conversation. So, Deborah, you coming to get the mic? All right.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Well, I guess y'all all know I'm different. Now, I'm not up here to talk about who to vote for. I have a total different reason. of the Okefenokee Swamp Organization. And we need help. We need petitions signed and sent to Atlanta. We need those in Atlanta to come and understand and visit. We need you all to bring your children, your grandchildren, and any other person, your dog and your cat, your birds, whatever you got. Because if we lose Okefenokee Swamp, if they mine there, which is what they want to do, it will destroy almost 10, 20, 30,000 acres of property. There will be problems with the water. The Okefenokee flows so it empties into at least 3 other tributaries. The Okefenokee is the largest, not one of, but the largest black water, freshwater places in this part of the world. You understand this? This is something you cannot rebuild. And if you don't believe that, get some information on the Florida Everglades. See what's happening to them. This is important, people. Not only that, but it is important to the people that it belongs to. We claim it, but it does not belong to us. It belonged to 3 tribes of Indians. And this is where they buried their forefathers. And one of the things, if they let out 63 feet of water, they take that from the Okefenokee. We are going to kill plants that we don't even know what the medical foundation of them, because we have people from the University of Georgia and all over the state getting samples. We will kill the alligators. We will kill the flowers. I could go on, but I won't. But I do ask that sometimes just get together with a group of friends and just go and see the marvelous of what this place is. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you all for coming. And so now, do you have anything else, Mary? Okay. So we will, we just lost our minister. We like to pray. Okay. Would somebody close this out with a brief prayer? Oh, okay.
Shall we stand, please? Let us bow our heads. Gracious Father, we thank you for this night. We thank you for these candidates that have come and presented from their heart. We thank you for citizens that came out to listen. We thank you even for the hostess, the Reeds Ponderosa, for hosting this, and also the NAACP. So we ask a special blessing upon each and every one. In Jesus' name we pray, amen.
Amen.